Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a combat veteran, a father, and a builder teaching men to rise from ruin. No other than Mr. Lee Freeburg.
Hello.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Lee. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Lee Freeburg. I am a Navy combat veteran. I was attached to the Marine Corps the majority of my career in the Navy, and I went to Iraq in 2007 with a EOD team, and we were there for about a year, and then uh, thankfully all have returned home safely from there. Since then, that was about 2007. I've been working on myself, kind of recovering from both PTSD and the classic Mr. Nice Guy syndrome. And for the last 15 years, I've been building and working on myself, studying and growing and putting myself through trials and tribulations to become the man that I want to become. And that's what I talk about now. I talk about men, helping men grow and get past their inefficiencies and past the negativity of masculinity in the world today and build men up to become the man they're supposed to be.
Men supposed to be. I like that, Mr. Lee. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. How does your experience as a combat veteran redefine and what it means to be forged by fire beyond cliche?
Well, to go to combat, you have to prepare yourself. You have to put yourself through training and some excruciating environments. The Navy SEALs, they have Hell Week, right? It's a time of struggle and period where men have to decide if they're going to continue to be work on themselves or to give up and go home. And when I went to combat, I was trained and went to combat, and the experience of being mission focused, being in the dirt, in the grind every day, wondering what's around the next corner, puts you in a state of mind where you have to be aware of things. And when I came home from combat, I was still in that aware situation. And so I began to be- build myself and look deep into me and see what was there, what helped me get through all that, the trauma and heat of battle, and brought me home. And now, how can I use what I learned there to grow and become the man I want to be?
To grow indeed. So tell us ideas in action. What is all about?
Yeah, you bet. Oh, ideas in action. So this is my website here. I am a product designer by nature. Like I just enjoy creating and designing things. I've written a book. I've actually designed there on that website. You'll see a thing called the Symphony Line Striper. Built and designed that and brought it. I'm bringing it to the market. Yep, right there on the left hand side, that little circle. That machine right there, I designed and built that whole machine, and I'm actually bringing it to the market next year, which is pretty exciting. Um, I want to be the go-to idea design guy for anybody who's got a wild hair idea that they, let's say a guy's working in his garage and he's like, man, I really wish I had this type of tool. He can reach out to me and we can work together and create that tool and then even potentially bring it to the market for others to use that tool. So that's kind of what ideas in action are right there.
Congratulations, Mr. Lee, for sharing your ideas in action to the world. We salute you for doing that. And how people are listening right now or watching us will support you. What was the moment your survival mechanisms stopped working, forcing you to rebuild from ruin?
When I saw that my weak man inside had more control over my life than the strong man, I did weak man things. I was given to lust and feeding my appetite, and I chased pleasure more than I chased discipline. And one morning I woke up and I realized that this lifestyle was only going to end in turmoil, broken family, broken home, just not where I wanted to be. And I decided that then and there, this is the moment. And I started to read and study. I began to journal. So I am a big fan of journaling. I think every man should be journaling. It's very important. And then growing and building on the things we learn about ourselves. And I want to be a strong man. I want to lead other men. And so I have to put the time and the effort in to build me.
Mr. Lee, again, thank you so much for leading man for Rumen. How did becoming a father expose to a gaps between your warrior self and the man you needed to be?
Fatherhood is a eye opener, and I think that it's instinctive for every man once he sees his own children that he has to make the decision to be the father or to leave. And I think a lot of men choose to leave the responsibility of being a father, but I chose to dive in stronger. And not just do that, I actually wrote a book for my daughter so that if I were to pass away before she's older as an adult, she could have something to go back to say this is what my dad taught me. And I actually wrote this book. It's called How to Be a Better Man, or How to Live a Better Life. It's my personal book to my daughter, but I also have it up on Amazon if other people, like adults, want to read it and learn the things that maybe our parents forgot to teach us so that we can teach our children. And that's part of my mission in life.
And thank you so much for sharing your book to the world, Mr. Lee. How to live a better life. What are your struggles in writing this book?
Oh, the struggle, the information was fairly easy. I've read over 150 different books. A lot of them were self-help, self-development type books. And that part wasn't the difficult part. It was creating the story to make it relatable to more than just myself and my daughter. That part I struggled with quite a bit, and I've got a lot of positive feedback from people who've read the book. It's very informative. It's instructional type, so every chapter ends with questions so that the reader can continue to build on themselves. I was along with a list of books to read. So I don't just recommend my book. I recommend all these other books that I've read, so that you can go and learn what I've learned, or maybe get something else from the same book that I read. And so it's really full scope, build a better life type.
Mr. Lee, can you finish this sentence according to your book? A better life is to be.
um, that's a good one. I can't remember that exact. I don't remember exactly how that one finishes.
But anyway,
Um,
for your opinion, a better life is to be.
a better life is to be grounded. It's to have a routine. It's having things in order. Your money, your financials in order, your relationships. It's to know what love is and to love. It's to pick your religion and then engulf yourself in that, become part of that community and grow with those people around you. It's to know who God is, or your God, who God is to you. A better life is to live a life of moderation, to not overindulge in the simplicity of life or the pleasures of life, but to moderate how you enjoy things. Overindulgence creates numbness. Underindulgence creates greed. But finding that balance between the two, that's where the better life is. But the better life also looks different for each one of us. So the book isn't written directly to say this. It's to show a painting of what a better life for you looks like. And then you make the decisions. This is how I want to live because this is my better life.
Very well said, Mr. Lee. Congratulations for sharing your legacy to the world. How to live a better life. Mr. Lee, what would be the next ideas that you are forging right now that you want to share to the world?
Absolutely. My next great idea is I'm in the process of writing another book called How to Be a Better Man. And I cover six things in this book. Right now, I'm just in the outline phase, so I don't have a lot of details, but it's going to be focused specifically to men, obviously, how to be a better man. Okay. Um, and it's going to cover six different topics. The first is the weak man. And I think that's the very most important thing that as men we need to face first is the weak man, the pleasure seeking, the overindulgence, and begin to work on him and put him away so that we can become the strong man. That's chapter two, the strong man. And then I give examples of what the strong man looks like and how to be a strong man, how to say no to things and how to say yes to the right things. And then I go over a very important part that I think every man needs, and that's a tribe. Men need another group of men, of like-minded gentlemen that we can get together and share ideas and be uh, a group with. But not just that. Chapter 4 is on the inner circle. We don't need just a group. We actually need a group of men, a very small group that we actually share our intimate emotional thoughts and we can feel safe in that environment, that we're not going to be judged or chastised because, hey, I feel angry right now and I want to tell you about it. No, that's not. We're not. That inner circle is a comfort zone that we can build together. Then chapter 5, I kind of do like a comparison between the Pinocchio story, which we've all read as children, we've heard, we've seen the movie, we know who Pinocchio is. But I draw this comparison between Pinocchio as the boy who is immature and plays and enjoys the pleasures of life, but then the pleasures of life have a consequence. And he begins to realize the consequence and he makes the decision to separate from being a boy to become the man he's going to be. And he goes out and he saves Geppetto. And I draw comparisons between that and being a man. And then chapter 6, the final chapter, is another kind of like book review sort of about Jack and the Beanstalk. And Jack and the Beanstalk teaches men this what's called the rite of passage, right? Jack's a boy. He's doing pleasure type things. He doesn't make wise decisions. He trades the cow for some magic beans, right? And like he trades his only economy for something that might not even work. And what turns out, obviously, we know it grows this giant beanstalk, and Jack begins his struggle in life. He climbs the beanstalk, which represents every man's struggle. We have to build, work, grind to get to the top. And when we get to this top, what we consider top, it's not the same for everybody, but when we get to that top, at the top is our maiden. So Jack rescues the maiden, and then he also scoops up the gold from the giant, which is our income or our revenue, our um, set aside for retirement, our gold, right? And every man has to go through this. And so I draw this comparison between Jack and the Beanstalk and the rite of passage of every man. And that's the book, How to Be a Better Man. And I'm hoping to have that out in 2026, hopefully about June timeframe next year.
How to be a better man. Looking forward for that, Mr. Lee. And you are most welcome to come back and let's talk about it and let's promote to the world. Which military instinct, like discipline, mission focus, help men heal and which become traps?
So probably the military has a very strong community. And I want to say it's very strong because we all go through a lot of the similar things. We all have to go through a boot camp. We all have to go to a school. We have to go and train. We have to do these things continuously, and that kind of bonds us together. And so the military really provides a community base. Well, when you leave the military, you leave that community, and a lot of veterans, I truly believe, feel this loss of the community they had, and they come out in the world with no purpose, no instructions, no community. And so I love that community, and so I want to try to build that community for other veterans and things like that. And that's kind of what I took away from the military. Obviously, discipline, that's a huge thing, right? Your discipline is drilled into you. Practice. It's built into you all the time. And so some of these things have become natural habits for me. Uh, Going to the gym, working out, doing the hard thing. Those things stemmed from the military life, but then once I left, there was nobody there to tell me what to do. And so I had to become my own, what I like to call, I became my own sergeant major, my own boss. And I had to tell me what to do. And so then I began to grind out, learn, study, practice, learn, study, practice. One of my favorite phrases that I learned in the military, it relates to learning and teaching. And that is, to learn something strongly, you need to see somebody do it. Once you see somebody do it, then you need to do it. Then once you do it, then you teach others how to do it. It's called the see one, do one, teach one technique. It's the strongest way for somebody to learn and ingrain something as becoming a natural habit. So I saw somebody else have a routine schedule. I applied it to my life and I had a routine schedule. And now I teach others how to have a routine and schedule to have a better life.
Mr. Lee, as a combat veteran, father, and a builder, what are your short term and long term goals?
So short term right now, in about the next 6 months, I'm going to open up the physical facility for Freeburg Design and Automation, the website that you were looking at. That there will be an actual facility built and all that good stuff in the next 6 months. My long term goal, not of course, my business will be successful and things like that. But one of my long term goals is to be on Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson. That's one of my long term goals.
Good luck to that goal, Mr. Lee, and looking forward for more success in everything you do. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a father, want to be a builder, as well as an author?
Improving yourself improves your environment.
Totally agree, and we salute you for your advocacy. Well done, Mr. Lee. Very well done. And how do you help men dismantle toxic self reliance without feeling emasculated?
Time alone. So I found that setting specific periods of time to be separate or come out from the rest, from the family or from society. Um, I've rented an Airbnb, small, easy Airbnb, so that I could spend a series of maybe 7 days or so by myself, so that I could spend time reflecting, writing, meditating, praying. And I do this about once a year. So I have this refresher time when I can go back and start over. As a matter of fact, I just came off that time about a week ago, or this last week. I just got back from a 7 day period out in the woods in Kentucky. And I just really engulfed the manhood, right? Like starting a fire and building a campsite, exploring the woods, doing things that are masculine, so that my masculine energy is excited, and then I can begin to work on whatever it is that I need to work on.
Why is sharing pain harder for veterans than facing combat? And how do you normalize it?
In combat, you're in combat. If you're in it, you're integrated in it, and there's no time to sit and think about the what's happening around you. You just do what your training has instructed you to do. When you get home, some of that pain that was experienced in combat is now ready to be dealt with, but it's not like hey, I'm ready, let's do it right now. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, you sit up out of bed sweating with cold sweats because you just woke up from a combat dream, right? And now you're sweating, you're actually in a heightened sense of awareness. The PTSD is really kicking in, and you have to begin to recognize that. Then you have to deal with the pain, the loss, if there was loss in combat, which a lot of combat veterans experience loss. And you have to begin to deal with it and actually bring it to the surface. The problem is that we're so engulfed in this mindset of masculinity has to be tough. We have to be tough, have to be tough, that we don't want to deal with that pain, because dealing with that pain means we might have to be weak for a while. The not the weak man, but look feeble and unable to handle things. But it has to be done. And that's kind of why I recommend that time period away. You can you can cry in private. You can scream at the trees. You can express all these emotions that are just floating around inside of you, and then begin to face them and say, "Hey, what I feel right now is anger, and my anger is focused at this, but that's not the cause." And you can backtrack. A buddy of mine has a great thing. He says, You got to ask five whys. I feel this emotion. Why do I feel this emotion? Why do I feel this emotion? And why is this? And then why that? And then why that? And then why that? And you backtrack to try to find the focal point of why you're angry or mad or pain or experiencing this pain. And then you have to deal with it. You have to let it go and remove yourself from that pain and say, was I the cause of the pain? If I was, let's heal from that. Let's go ask forgiveness. But if the pain was caused to me, I have to let that go and say, hey, I couldn't control them. I can only control me. And so it's on me to heal from this trauma and this pain.
Very well said, Mr. Lee. Beautifully articulated. And can you recommend a book that? Can you recommend a book that influenced your journey, or books?
Yes, I have a couple books. The first one that influenced me probably the most is a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And while that sounds like the opposite of nice guy is asshole, for lack of a better word, it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
actually about the a persona that men take on called the nice guy. And the nice guy, he does all kinds of nice things. He's helpful. He'll do whatever, but he has an agenda. And the nice guy, there's lots and lots of nice guys. I'm a recovering Mr. Nice Guy. I used to do really nice things for people, but I kept the score. And when it came time for me to um, collect on my investment, people would get mad at me or I'd get mad at them because secretly I had this agenda that I didn't say. And what I should have done is said, hey, absolutely, I'll help you out, but I would like this in return, which is normal economic trade, right? But instead, I just do the nice thing without saying anything. But now, after reading that book and facing that nice guy persona, I put him away and I began to do nice things because I want to be nice. I want to be kind without an agenda, without hidden contracts. And so I highly recommend this book to anybody, men, women, both. They will learn from this and grow from it. And then the second book I highly recommend is Codependent No More. And it's actually kind of more focused towards women who are in abusive relationships. But I believe men can learn from this book a lot. They can learn a lot from this book in the fact that sometimes men have abusive wives, and it's very rarely talked about. And we get attached to these abusive women, and we do things for them, trying to appease their anger, and nothing ever does that. And we have to learn to step out of that and say, no, my heart wants me to help you, but I can't because you don't want help, and I need to work on me. And it really kind of turns the focus from what everybody's doing to me to what I need to do for me and help me grow and become stronger so that I can say no to the manipulative requests made by an abusive spouse. So I highly recommend that book. And then, of course, the Bible. I always recommend the Bible. If it has knowledge from thousands of generations, it's always true. There's always something in there that we can glean from it and grow from it as well. So
Thank you for your recommendation or recommended book, Mr. Lee, and hoping our listener will read them and they will be empowered. How does rebuilding one man break cycles for dysfunction for his children?
we have a tendency sometimes to not control our emotions. And when we have children or spouses that rely on us to be a stable point in our relationship, and we can't control our own relationships, that our children will see that our inability to maintain, to be the man we're supposed to be. And so if we don't take the time to improve who we are, to become stronger, become the men, the leader in our families, and we continue to stay in that weak man mentality, our children and our spouse will see that in us. Our actions are visible. Everybody sees, I mean, actions like speak a lot louder than our words. And so what we do is reflected into our children and our spouse. And if we're not doing the right thing, building and growing, they're going to look at us and go, oh, dad's not important. Dad. And they begin to demean us. They begin to disrespect us. And once the respect starts to go, then our leadership begins to fall, and now they look at us as a weak man, and they feel free of going around us. Oh yeah,
Definitely. Definitely, definitely. And thank you for so much for your empowering wisdom and knowledge. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in fifth season as well, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 and its fifth season too. Geography 101 and second season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Lee, what kind of a man is unlikely to seek your help, and what would you tell them?
The men that generally seek my help are actually young men coming out of college, out of high school, college age men. I've had a few mentees in that age group, and I help them work through their um, immaturity. And that's kind of the group that I like to speak with is the ones young men who are looking to improve themselves even at a young age. That's my group.
To be a better man for sure, and looking forward for that book, Mr. Lee. And I'm inviting you again to come back and let's talk about it. Mr. Lee Freeburg, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your books, as well as your business itself?
You bet. My book again, How to Live a Better Life, is on Amazon. Just type in How to Live a Better Life, Lee Freeburg, and you'll find it. Also, you can find me on Instagram. Just look for Lee Freeburg on Instagram, and I put up motivational things, talk about different topics, and then of course my website freeburgdesigns.com or freeburg-designs.com, and where you can go and find out about the products that I built and design and things like that. I appreciate being on this show, Daniel.
Yes, people will support Mr. Lee Freeburg because if you support him, more and more and more empowering ideas to come, more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering business to come. So, Mr. Lee, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.